हेलो फ्रेंड्स, हम अपने इंडियन पॉलिटी की घटना चक्र की सीरीज़ को आगे कंटिन्यू करते हैं। हमने 35 क्वेश्चंस कंप्लीट कर लिए थे और आगे के क्वेश्चंस कंप्लीट करते हैं। 36 क्वेश्चंस। हु प्रपोज द प्रीएम्बल्स बिफोर द ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस? जवाहरलाल नेहरू। द प्रोसीडिंग्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली स्टार्टेड with the objective resolutions presented by Jawaharlal Nehru on 13 December 1946. The objective resolution was unanimously passed on 22 January 1947. Later, these objective resolutions become the foundation of the preamble of the constitutions. Question 37. Who among the following presented the objectives of objective resolutions? Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. C.D. Deshmukh. So option B is correct, Jawaharlal Nehru, who presented the objective resolutions. Question 38. In relation to formation of the constitutions of India, which of the following statement is or are correct? Resolutions of the objectives by Nehru affected the making of the constitutions. Preambles fulfilled various important objectives, aims. Third, peoples of the Indian order directed the constitutions. Head of the states is elected by the people directly. So option first, second and third is correct. The resolutions of the objectives by Nehru affected making of the constitutions. Preamble fulfill various important objectives, aims, and people of India's order direct the constitutions. ये फोर्थ जो था, हेड ऑफ द स्टेट इलेक्टेड बाय द डायरेक्ट पीपल्स, ये रॉन्ग है, ये इनडायरेक्टली इलेक्टेड होते हैं। एंड देन द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस, द हेड ऑफ द स्टेट दैट इज द प्रेसिडेंट इज नॉट इलेक्टेड बाय द डायरेक्टली but by people's representatives, which includes elected members of both houses of parliaments, elected member of the legislatives of all the states including union territories of the three सेंटेंस आर करेक्ट. सो जो ऑप्शन फर्स्ट, सेकेंड एंड थर्ड है वो करेक्ट है. और जो हेड ऑफ द स्टेट होते हैं जैसे प्रेसिडेंट है, उनको डायरेक्टली इलेक्ट नहीं किया जाता, उनको इनडायरेक्टली इलेक्ट किया जाता है. और उनको इलेक्ट करने के लिए बोथ हाउस ऑफ पार्लियामेंट होते हैं, स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली होती है, और ऑल द स्टेट्स ऑल द स्टेट इंक्लूडिंग यूनियन टेरिटरी भी होती है. So option 4 is wrong. And question 39. How many sessions of the Indian Constitution Assemblies were conducted for the formulation of the Indian Constitutions? So 12. A Constitution Assemblies took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to complete a historic task, drafting the constitutions. During this periods, there was 11 sessions covering the totals of 165 days. On 26 November 1949, the last days of the 11th sessions, the constitution was adopted. A part of these 11 sessions, one more meeting was held on 24 January 1950, in the which members appended this signature. So nearest correct option is C. सो फ्रेंड्स, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को हमारे बनने में 2 साल 11 महीने और 18 दिन लगे, और लगभग 11 सेशन हुए थे और एक लास्ट सेशन 24 जनवरी 1950 को. क्वेश्चन 40. मेंशन द करेक्ट डेट्स ऑफ द लास्ट मीटिंग्स ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली. तो 24 जनवरी 1950. हाउ मच टाइम्स कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली टुक प्लेस टू फ्रेम द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस? 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. Option A, 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. Consider the following statement regarding the Constitution Assembly. The final sessions of the Constitution Assembly was held on 24 January 1950. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was declared to be duly elected the office of President in his final sessions. Options: neither one or two correct, both one and two correct, only one is correct, only two is correct, only one is correct. Questions are not attempted. So first option is correct है, दूसरा ऑप्शन भी correct है. The Constitutional Assembly was constitutions to frame the constitutions of India under the schemes formulated by Cabinet Mission Plan consisting of three: Lord Patrick Lawrence, Sir Stafford Cripps and A.V. Alexander, which arrived in India on March 24, 1946. The Constitutional Assembly held on first meeting in 9 December 1946. The Constitutional Assemblies had 11 sessions over 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. On January 24, 1950, the Constitutional Assembly was held a final sessions. On the day it was adopted the national anthems, national songs and elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad the first president of India. So Constitutional Assembly को लगभग फर्स्ट मीटिंग तो 9 दिसंबर 1946 को हुई थी और लास्ट मीटिंग्स 24 जनवरी 1950 को हुई थी. तो इसमें 11 सेशंस और 11 सेशन हुए तो ओवर 2 इयर्स 11 मंथ और 18 डेज में हुए थे. तो फर्स्ट मीटिंग्स 9 दिसंबर 1946 में हुई थी और लास्ट मीटिंग थी ऑन 24 जनवरी 1950 को हुई थी और इनके बीच लगभग 11 सेशन हुए थे और एक सेशन 24 जनवरी को हुआ था जिसमें साइन कराया गया था. वो उसको लेकर के 12 सेशन आते हैं और उस दिन हम नेशनल एंथम को भी अडॉप्ट किए थे 1950 को, नेशनल सॉन्ग को भी अडॉप्ट किए थे और डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद पहले प्रेसिडेंट भी बने थे. What was the durations in makings of the Indian constitutions? 2 year, 11 month or 18 days. It took precisely 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to create a constitution. The Constitution of India was adopted on 26 January 1950. The 299 members of the Constitutional Assembly drafted the Constitution of India over the 3 years. The first sessions was Constitutional Assembly held on 9 December 1946 when the Rajendra Prasad unanimously elected as the president. Question 44. Match list X with list Y and select the correct answer using the codes list X and list Y. Vice presidents of the Constitutional Assembly, originally the only Congress members of drafting committees, V.K. Krishnacharya or Jawaharlal Nehru. Member of the Constitutional Assembly, CM K.M. Munshi. Chairman of the Union's Constitution Committee, S.C. Mukherjee. So option B is correct. The first president of Constitutional Assembly was S.C. First vice president of the Constitutional Assembly, S.C. Mukherjee. The only Congress members of drafting committee, K.M. Munshi. Representative of the Rajasthan Municipal State, V.T. Krishnacharya. Chairman of the Union Constitutional Committees, Jawaharlal Nehru. Note: the first temporal vice president of the Constitutional Assembly was Frank Anthony, who was nominated by the Dems temporal president of Sachidanand Sinha on 9 December 1946. S.C. Mukherjee was the first permanent vice president of the Constitutional Assembly. S.C. Mukherjee. तो फर्स्ट वाइस प्रेसिडेंट थे S.C. मुखर्जी, ओनली कांग्रेसमैन K.M. मुंशी और राजस्थान पिछली स्टेट थे V.T. कृष्णाचार्य. चेयरमैन ऑफ द यूनियन कमेटीज जवाहरलाल नेहरू. Who was the constitutional advisor at the time of the formation of the constitutions? So B.N. Rai. Sir Managals Narsingh Rao was appointed as the constitutional advisors during the formation of the constitutions. B.N. Rao. The first draft of the Constitution was prepared by B.N. Rao. The first draft was Constitutions was prepared by B.N. Rao. The first drafts of the Constitutions was prepared by the Constitution Advisor B.N. Rao, which was put before drafting committee for opinions, discussion and changes in it. The original drafts proposed by the Mr. Rao included 243 articles and 13 schedules. Question 47. When was the third readings of the Indian Constitution started? In the Constitution Assembly. Third reading of the Indian Constitutions of the Constitutional Assembly was started 17th November 1949 and completed 26th November 1949. Hence, none of the option is correct. The Constitutions of India was completed B. 26 November 1949. The preamble of the Indian Constitutions, we the people of India enact, adopt and give to ourselves the Constitution on 26 November 1949. The date is considered as the date of adoption, completion and passing the Constitution. On the same day, the provisions relating citizenship, interims, parliaments and temporary transitions and special provisions come to effect. The rest of the provisions come into effect on 26 January 1950. Thus, 26 January 1950 is considered the enforcement of the whole Constitution. The Indian Constitution was adopted by the Constitutional Assembly on 26 November 1949. Constitution was adopted by the Constitutional Assembly 26 November 1949. The Constitution of India was adopted on which days? 26 November 1949. Constitution of India come into force on 26 January 1950. Force में 1950 में आया था और अडॉप्ट हुआ. The Constitution of India come into force on 26 January 1950. The Republic is governed in terms of the Constitutions India, which was adopted by the Constitutional Assemblies on 26 November 1949 and come into force is 26 January 1950. Notably, the Constitution provides for the parliamentary form of governments, which is a federal in structures in certain unitary leaning. Question 54. January 26 was selected as a date for the inaugurations of the Constitution because the Congress observed as its Independence Day of 1930s and the Quit India movement was started in considered auspice. So option A is correct. Congress observed it as Independence Day of 1930 क्योंकि इन्होंने पहली बार 1930 में ही इंडिया को आज़ाद घोषित किया था. The Pune Swaraj Declaration was promulgated by the Indian National Congress in Lahore sessions December 1929, where Congress asked the peoples of the Indias to observe 26 January as Independence Day after the Congress regularly observed 26 January as Independence Day of India. The new Constitution of India was as drafted and approved by the Constitutional Assembly of India was mandated to come into effect on 26 January 1950 to commemorate the 1929 Declaration. Constitutions of the India is celebrated on 26 November. The Constitution's Day of India was celebrated on 26 November since the new Constitution was adopted by the Constitutional Assembly of 26 November 1949 and signed by the Presidents Rajendra Prasad, and some of the provisions of the Constitution come into force, while the remaining provisions of the Constitution come into force on 26 January 1958, commence date of the Constitution. तो हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे 26 नवंबर 1949 को ही मनाते हैं, क्योंकि इस दिन हमने अडॉप्ट किया था कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, और कुछ प्रोविज़न्स हमारे फोर्स में आए थे 26 जनवरी 1950 में। सो हम 26 जनवरी 1949 को ही हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे मानते हैं। Consider the following statement with respect to the Constitution. The Constitution Day is celebrated on 26 November every year to promote Constitution's value among the citizens. Correct है। 26 November 1949 the Constitutional Assembly was set up drafting committee under the chairmanship of B.R. Rao to prepare draft of the constitutions. So option C is correct. One is statement is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. On 26 November marks Constitution Day, also called Samvidhan Divas, to remember the day on which Indian Constitution was adopted in efforts to encourage individuals to uphold the principle of the constitutions. The Indian government decided to declare 26 November as Constitutional Day, which was announced by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, November 2015. Among all the constituents committee of the Constitutional Assemblies, the Importance Committees was a drafting committee set up in 29 August 1947. It was the committees which was entrusted with the task of preparing the draft of the new constitutions. It consists of 7 members under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. His statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect. Dr. B.R. in Constitution under chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. B.R. Ambedkar chairmanship थे. Sure. Question 57. Indian Constitution was adopted by Constituent Assemblies. It explicitly mentions in the preambles itself that the Constitution was adopted and enacted by the Constituent Assemblies at its 11th session on 26 November 1949. Question 58. The Constitution of India was enacted on 26 November 1949 Constitution by Constitution Assembly. The Constitution of India was adopted and enacted on 26 November 1949. Consider the following events and arrange these in chronological orders, starting from the earliest to last activity. Appointment of the drafting committee. Indian Constitution was adopted and enacted. Date of commencement of Indian Constitution Assembly was first met. The appointments of the drafting committee. Option A is correct. Appointments of the drafting committee is 29 August 1947. The Indian Constitution was adopted enacted in 26 November 1949. The date of commencement of the 26 November 1950, 26 January 1950. The Constituent Assembly first met 9 December 1946. So option A is correct. तो सबसे पहले मेट किए थे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली फर्स्ट मेट, फिर उसके बाद से अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ द ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी, फिर डेट ऑफ द कमेंसमेंट ऑफ द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस एंड इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस was adopted and elected. B.R. Ambedkar was elected to the Constitutional Assemblies from Bombay presidencies. In the parliamentary elections held in 1946, Dr. Ambedkar was elected for the eastern part of the undivided Bengals. Later on, these regions became the part of Pakistan, and then Ambedkar was elected as a member of the Constitutional Assemblies from the Pune seat of Bombay Presidency, which was made vacant by the resignation or M.R. Jayakars of Congress, since Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was elected from the East Bengals, not West Bengals. So options B is correct. Year of the birth and death of the Ambedkar. Dr. Ambedkar, who played a prominent role in drafting constitutions, born on 14 April 1891 at Mahu, Madhya Pradesh, and died in 6 December 1956. Consider the following statements. The discussions of the third round tables conference eventually led to passing of the Government of India Act 1935. The Government of India Act 1935 was provided for the establishment of all India federations to the based on the Union Province of the British India's princely state. So option both is correct. During the round tables conference, a plan was present finalized the Government of India's Act 1935. In this act, the provision was made to form all Indian federation comprising of states and the British princely states from above. It is clear the board statement is true. The third and the last roundtable conference was organized in November-December 1932 in London, and the Congress did not participate in the conference. Question 64. Statements. A. The Constitution of India provides all necessary of the countries it is known to adopted constitutions. So option both A and R is true and R is not correct. Indian Constitution is able to provide all the necessity of the country. It is also well versed to future prospects and all, as it contains a provision for amendment. On the other hand, it takes views and principles from the constitutions of the various other countries. Thus may be called adopted constitutions. Both A and R are true, but R is not correct. Deferments of adult franchise for 15 years was advocated in the Constitutional Assembly by Mahua, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad, Dr. B. Ambedkar. Deferments of adult franchise for 15 years was advocated in the Constitutional Assembly Maulana Azad. At the time of discussions, the adult franchise Maulana Azad on the Constitutional Assemblies pleaded for the deferment of adult franchise for 15 years, but the Rajendra Prasad and Jawaharlal Nehru strongly supported its adopted. Who among the following advised that the Indian National Congress should disband as a political party after independence? So Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi suggests that the Indian National Congress formed only for achieve the independence and should be disbanded as a political party after the independence. Which one of the following sets constitutions like machines are lifeless things? It acquire life because the man who control it and who needs to do nothing more than the set of honest men who have the interest of the countries before them. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad ने कहा था. Statements in the questions made the chairman of the Constitutional Assembly, the first president of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The statements is a part of his speech during the adoption of the Indian Constitution, 26 November 1949. 68 questions. In their nationalist reaction, the founding fathers of the Indian Constitution tended to minimize the importance of the minorities' interests and emotions. These views created Ever Jennings. The above comments was Sir Ever Jennings on the provision of protection of minorities in the Indian Constitution. Question 69. The Constitutional Assembly was Congress and Congress was India's. Who said this? Austin's. The above statements, the Constitutional Assembly was Congress and the Congress was India's, was made by the famous historians Padma Shri's Awards Granville's Austin's in the books The Indian Constitution. How many women were there in the Indian Constitutional Assemblies? Between 13, 12 and 10. So option A is correct, 15. The total number of women in the Constituent Assembly was 15. They Amu Swaminathan, Annie Massacre and Sarojini Naidu, Dakshani Velayudh, G. Durgabai Deshmukh, Hansa Mehta, Kamna Chaudhary, Leela Roy, Malti Chaudhary, Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, Renuka Rai, Purnima Banerjee, Begum Aziz Rashol, Suchita Kriplani, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. So friends, ये पार्ट हमारा यही कंप्लीट होता है, जो कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस असेंबलीज एंड मेकिंग ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस था, वो पार्ट हमारा कंप्लीट होता है। हम आगे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में ये सीरीज़ को कंटिन्यू करेंगे। सो नेक्स्ट वीडियो में इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशंस, इंडियन इम्पोर्टेंट कमिटीज़ ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली टॉपिक को स्टार्ट करेंगे। सो फ्रेंड्स, please like, share and subscribe the channels. We will meet on the next videos. Thank you.